This is the bend of a river located in Tibet, also known as the Great Bend of the Yarlung Tsangpo River. It's a spectacular U-turn where the river changes its course and flows towards India and Bangladesh. And this is exactly where China is going to build the world's largest dam. And China has already launched this project. The total cost of this project is estimated to be $137 billion. These days, it's making headlines across the media, with dozens of articles being published about it. Let's try to understand what harm this dam could cause to India and Bangladesh, and what benefits China could gain from it. In India, this river is known as the Brahmaputra, but China is not concerned with what name it's called in India. China's interest has for many years been focused on this very U-turn, and it's no ordinary turn. In fact, it could potentially trigger new conflicts in the region in the coming years. This part of the Yarlung Tsangpo River is wrapped around the highest peaks of the Himalayas, and is also known as the Yarlung Tsangpo Grand Canyon. This canyon stretches 505 kilometers in length. A canyon, after all, refers to a valley through which a river flows. Taking advantage of this canyon, China has decided to build the world's most powerful dam exactly at this location, which also happens to be one of the world's most remote locations. China has had its eyes on this U-turn for the past 20 years, and what makes it special is its slope, or gradient. At this spot, the river runs alongside a 7,000-meter high mountain, forming a U-turn and re-emerging from the other side of the mountain. Interestingly, the river's elevation at the start of the U-turn is 2,870 meters. But after making the turn, the river's elevation drops to just 870 meters. That's a slope of nearly 2,000 meters. In other words, the same river that was flowing at 2,870 meters on the west side of the mountain drops nearly 2,000 meters over a short distance. Chinese experts have proposed several dam projects here, one of which involves digging a tunnel through this 7,000-meter mountain and constructing a hydropower station. Since the river on the west side is at an elevation of 2,870 meters, if its natural course is blocked and a tunnel is carved through the mountain to divert the water directly into the river flowing on the east side, this project could potentially generate 60 gigawatts of electricity according to some estimates. That would be 3 times more electricity than what is currently produced by the world's largest Three Gorges Dam. This project is known as the Maydog Hydropower Station, and the proposed tunnel would be approximately 40 to 50 kilometers long. Along this tunnel, there would not be just 1 or 2, but multiple hydroelectric generating units. Turbines can be installed at this location. Unlike conventional dams, where water is stored behind large barriers, building a dam here wouldn't require as much effort. That's because high mountains on both sides naturally act as barriers, and a single wall can be constructed at this location to hold back the water. However, if turbines are installed directly on this wall and the water is dropped to the other side, it would only fall about 200 meters, generating less force and ultimately less electricity. So instead, a tunnel of about 40 to 50 kilometers would be dug near the wall to carry the water and drop it 2,000 meters down at a lower point. Now think about this. The Three Gorges Dam, currently the world's largest electricity generating dam, has a wall height of just 180 meters. In contrast, here the water would fall almost 2,000 meters. While this project has many benefits, it also comes with major challenges. Experts believe that China could face serious difficulties building it. First, this location lies in one of the most remote parts of Tibet, with no proper road network. How would the necessary machines be transported there? While cranes and smaller equipment may not be a huge problem, transporting a 6,000-ton, 150-meter-long tunnel boring machine into these high-altitude mountains would be a major engineering challenge. Based on today's estimates, if China builds the world's largest hydropower station here, just digging the tunnel could cost $30 to $40 billion. And that doesn't even include the cost of the turbines. Since thousands of cubic meters of water will pass through the tunnel, its walls must be reinforced with concrete and steel to handle the pressure. But this whole area lies on a major fault line where the Indian and Eurasian plates meet, making it one of the world's most earthquake-prone regions. In 1950, a huge 8.5 magnitude quake hit Assam, just 200 kilometers away. Since 1901, over 4,000 quakes have been recorded in the Himalayas. Experts warn that any dam over 100 meters tall in this zone could be destroyed by an earthquake of just 6+ magnitude. In addition, The area where the Medog hydropower station is proposed is also notorious for deadly landslides. In 2021, a landslide in this region blocked a section of the Yarlung Tsangpo River, forcing the water to change its course. Similarly, in the Indian Himalayas, landslides have triggered flash floods that took many lives and destroyed 2 hydropower stations. Along with all these challenges, if China truly wants to build the world's largest hydropower station, it will also have to face India. As you can see, the section of the Yarlung Tsangpo River that flows downstream from the dam enters the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh, just a short distance away. This is the same Indian state that China claims as its own, and due to this, several clashes have occurred between Indian and Chinese forces in this region. Since the 1960s, India and China have fought multiple times over this disputed territory. Most recently, in 2020, there was a violent skirmish between Indian and Chinese soldiers in the Galwan Valley, which even led to the death of a soldier. The point is, this region remains extremely tense, and building the world's biggest dam just 50 kilometers from a disputed border is certainly not without risk. Both India and China are nuclear-armed nations, and constructing such a dam could give China full control over the water flowing into India and Bangladesh, a resource China could potentially use as a geopolitical weapon. In summary, the Medog hydropower station is not only dangerous from an environmental perspective, but could also become the trigger for future conflicts in the region. So then, why is this project so important for China? Looking at the population, China is the second largest country in the world. But when it comes to electricity consumption, China is among the top. The main reason behind this high consumption is the sheer number of factories operating in the country. These factories are the backbone of China's rapidly growing economy, something it cannot afford to compromise. To meet its energy demands, China has already constructed more than 98,000 hydropower dams across the country. Yet even today, nearly 70% of China's electricity still comes from fossil fuels. China has set a vision to control carbon emissions by 2060, as the world is steadily moving toward the end of the fossil fuel era. If China fails to reduce its dependency on fossil fuels by then, it could lose its global standing. The Medog hydropower station, which is expected to generate 60 gigawatts of electricity, may seem like a drop in the ocean compared to China's total electricity consumption of 7.8 million gigawatts. But even that could serve as a lifeline in the long term. If China completes this massive dam on the Yarlung Tsangpo River, India and Bangladesh could face serious losses. Since the river flows directly into India's Arunachal Pradesh and then into Bangladesh as the Brahmaputra, China will gain upstream control over the water flow. This means during dry seasons, China could reduce the water supply, causing drought-like conditions in India's northeast and parts of Bangladesh. In the rainy season, sudden release of excess water could trigger floods, damaging crops, infrastructure, and displacing millions. Additionally, the dam's location near the disputed border in Arunachal Pradesh raises security concerns for India, as China could use water as a geopolitical weapon, further increasing regional tensions. We hope you subscribed, liked, and shared this video. That's all for today's update. Please subscribe and like this video.